everybody. I'm Tony Pellegrino, and thanks for joining me for this episode of Tech Talk. It is Thursday, October 14th, 2021. I hope everybody's doing well. We've got a cool show for you today. We're going to continue our recap of Trail Hero, and I've got all the sales guys here with me that were out there at Trail Hero, and we're going to watch some videos today and talk to you guys about what they see. I'm sure I'll chime in at some point, but we're going to let these guys really go through some of this. As we're going to start off on Double Sammy. As always, you guys are welcome to, guys and gals, are welcome to type in your comments. Debbie is here to read those. Say hi, Debbie.
Hello everybody.
Okay, and if you saw last Tuesday, we did talk about Trail Hero a bit. We showed some of the damage that we incurred out there. I think Ellen said we can see a little bit more. And let's see, let's start off with our featured product. We don't have that slide, but I'll just act like I'm clicking it and hand me one of those bins. All right.
1 minute.
Not too far from here is this place called Front Runner. Let's grab the other one too. These are very nice storage bins that you can use in the back of your Jeep. And unlock it. And what's nice about these bins is they're square walls. So you don't have a taper to them, so you can really pack a lot of stuff in them. The lids do overlap. As you can see, they've got this overlap on them so that when it drops down on there, it makes them very water resistant. The lids do lock on with these little things, and on this one, there's actually two different styles. Here, let me trade that. So this bin, let's actually this. So this bin comes with this lid. This would be the normal lid, and it's got these cool little catches that you just push on and they lock down. These holes here are actually to put your tie downs in and cinch this down. These are stackable. It does have nice handles, and if you want the taller lid, you just pop this off and you put it on the taller lid. So it gives you some extra storage capacity. So really nice, and again, these are sturdy enough to stand on. If you stand on them on the sides, they can be strapped to the roof, strapped inside, in the back, whatever. Front Runner is the company. You can do a search for that, and they are right here in Agora. These are all made in South Africa. It turns out that's a pretty popular brand in overlanding. And Jeff, grab that other little kit that they sent us over, and we'll talk about that. So they sent me over this nice little kitchen kit, which I thought was pretty cool. It's actually designed to hang, lift up that little thing. So it's got these little clips on there, hang, and it's got all your utensils, including a little cutting board and a couple of nice knives. So also a neat little thing. And then as you saw, it just rolls back up. So it's easy to transport. So they got a bunch of cool stuff, roof racks, all kinds of stuff. And I think they're going to get me a code that anybody who wants to order everything, I'll post that up after the show, and then you can call over there and order stuff. So, all right. All right. Let's have a quick discussion about...
We've got a quick question, honey,
Sure.
about those containers. Alan Whitehead is asking how many would fit in a GenRight rear cargo tray?
So that's a good question. And I actually had Arnold, our engineer, put all that in CAD, and he's got it all figured out. But I probably should have had that little piece of paper to go, oh, look, here's how many fit. I will also post that. By the way, the big one is called the Wolf, and the little one's called the Cub. So I'll tell you how many Wolves and Cubs fit. So because I got
So
just the
cute.
right amount figured out to fit in my JL. So I'll let you guys know. Okay. So I wanted to have a quick discussion about...
Val told you to stop tapping the table.
Oh, sorry.
He's all fired up. Had a rock star.
I don't always get the table. I want to talk about what you guys felt worked, what didn't work, what we saw out there, you know, and we can kind of mix that into watching the video as well. But I know we also had a couple issues, of which I wanted to bring in the ball valve thing, which we forgot to bring over here, unless we have one of those ball valves over here. And then, of course, you know, we used a couple of special GenRight items on this trip, so we can talk about that during the video. So I guess we can play the video. Let's get it started. So why don't each of you just pipe up, just as if we would be sitting here watching a video, talking amongst each other. And I know to me, when I watch something like this, I'm always looking at you know, suspension control, like dampening control and stuff. So
So the double Sammy trails was a 7?
7.
Right? So
Yeah.
it's a 7 out there.
It's a great Jeep trail.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
it's
this
got some
was day one,
bypasses.
right?
You
It's
guys,
a mix of everything.
So
you guys
the-
did double Sammy like
3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
So that first shot of the sign was the cameraman down there, and then he ran up to get this view. So that climb is quite steep. It doesn't
That's
look like much
way
from here.
steeper than it was
Yeah.
from here.
Yeah. And then you got a sharp turn.
Sharp couple of turns. You
Yeah.
get in there, and one's definitely front dig or reverse.
For sure.
Peter Doolin chimed in that the MT tires were super durable and there were no flats.
Yeah, they
All
were
week.
really good, really good. I was definitely impressed with having those on my Jeep, and they just work great. The Jeep definitely surpassed my expectations.
And you're running DOTs.
DOTs,
Right? You're
yeah.
DOTs, right?
Yeah, and I got to drive them back to back with Terremoto, so.
Yeah. And we did have a few other tires in our group, and you could see the gripping differences
Oh.
for sure
Yeah.
when holding lines, especially sidewalls.
Oh, look, there's Debbie.
Hey.
Hey,
It is amazing how the steepness doesn't translate to video.
No,
It is kind of freaky.
No matter how I shoot this thing, I
Yeah.
can never
that's
feel
that
like
option
I
where
do
everybody was
justice.
getting stuck.
Yeah.
So this one, I don't know how you guys did it, but I found that if I found just the right tire speed, it grabbed and pulled me up, you know.
Yeah, I found if I just, with my wheelbase,
I
if I
think we're
just
gonna see it
rolled
right
into
now.
it. I think this is the first time, so I figured out that I needed a little bit of wheel speed.
When in doubt, throttle out.
Yeah.
Cord Killinger ran out and checked, and he said 2 wolf packs wide leaves 10 inches in front or behind for additional
There
gear.
you go. Look at we've got
All right,
on the ball
Cord.
ambassador.
Nice
Good
job,
job,
buddy.
Cord.
Nice
Yeah.
That's a little bump.
Oh, look at that. We even switched right to the other angle of you coming up on the
Yeah.
same obstacle. That was pretty tricky
I've
camera
shot
work.
it 2 different times in the day.
Nice. Jamie seemed to have good timing. There's Peter. Those 2 Jeeps are so close in color.
Yeah, when you're scanning through pictures, you have to double take.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I accidentally uploaded a bunch of lines to his galley.
I do like Peter's gold wheels.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, look at this. Is like fast forward.
Yeah, it is. The Prius was going too slow.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Josh. We had him from
Oh, yeah.
Trails Off Road
From
for
one
a
day.
for a day.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
funny
funny to
seeing
watch.
it like this. Oh, man.
I forgot which one this is. I can't picture it. Is this the
It's
one you
right
kinda have
after-
to go into the corner?
Right before the little notch.
Yeah, the
Okay.
real obstacle.
Peter
This one.
Peter Doolin asked, what PSI did each of you run on your
Do you
Jeeps?
remember?
I ran. Well, when I checked my PSI a couple months ago, they were at 8. So I'm gonna assume they were at 8. I don't drive mine on the street, so I'm not often checking my PSI. When I do, it's just to come here, so there's no point in airing up for that.
So this is the obstacle.
Yes.
Yeah. There is a
Oh,
go
okay.
around. There's a go around to this, but the aftershock did absolutely beautiful
all
on
on
this.
It was a lot like following Terremoto, but slower and a lot quieter.
Yeah, a lot quieter.
But the
Less
characteristics of
dusty.
suspension just
Yeah.
looked planted and walked like a spider.
Oh, look at the other angle. Just awesome.
Tony Barath Bouchan Sarij asked, He said he sees house steering on Aftershock. Do we sell house steering for the JK?
Wow, how zoomed in are we?
That's on the TV right now.
I'm like, wow, that's a small sticker. That's a good eye, by the way.
Yeah.
And so we've got house steering on several of our Jeeps. We've got PSC on several of them. What are you running, Keith? Are you on AGR?
I actually have a PSC RAM, an AGR gearbox, and
Somebody else's
somebody else's
Oh,
pump.
boy.
So I have a conglomeration.
Oh,
But
yeah.
keeping my mind's been on my Jeep for
For a
11
long
years.
time, yeah.
So
Yeah.
over the years, I've had to change some stuff
Is yours
around.
still the ham can style
Yeah.
pump? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, regarded as the best one. So it just doesn't fit in a lot of the newer configurations. So the how on here for me is kind of a test bed. We're working with them to figure out if we can build a better mousetrap. Before that, I had the PSC stuff on there. You know, we're trying a bunch of different stuff on the Aftershock right now, and I also wanted to go back to I'm running exactly 8 psi because I checked mine.
I've seen you check. I don't know how exact
We
I
can't
did
talk
on that.
about it on TV.
It's a very high tech, very involved system Tony uses for his air pressure checking.
Proprietary.
Deb's got more questions.
Jay McKenzie, watching you all crawl up those obstacles, I've noticed I can't do that in my JL. Should I be looking for a Ruby T-case to help with crawling? 2019 JLU Sahara Dana 44 swap FNR running stock, 410 gearing, and 37-inch ridge grapplers.
Yeah. So most of that is right. The Ruby case would, or Atlas, you know, whatever, something with lower gears would help. And then don't forget, I'm also an automatic. That's the one thing spec I was waiting for that guy to mention. The torque converter makes up for a lot of that.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of people that discount that and like, no, I want a manual, but the torque converter is as effective as having a locker. It helps a lot in the scheme of things. So just
Okay,
don't overlook
so
that.
Jay McKenzie, are you an automatic?
Yep.
Okay.
James, do you remember what tire pressure you were at? Did you
8.7.
8.7 and
I was at 7.
7?
Yeah.
I actually started off unknowingly at 10. I thought it was at 8.
Oh, because you dropped in the middle of the trail. I remember that.
and then I realized I was driving really funky, so I dropped it down to 6. And 6 seemed to really work well.
Well, because it heats up, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
come back.
yeah.
Whose customer was this guy with the orange cage? Was that
Don't
yours,
know.
Jeff?
No,
That?
that was Jeffrey Rorda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
That was a
customer.
brand new build for him. He had literally like driven around the parking lot and came here
Yeah.
and joined us.
Yep.
We made some suspension adjustments. It worked great. He, by the way, came from driving a YJ, totally short, you know, lifted up way too high, and now he's on one of our elite.
Yeah, he's probably on. He watches live.
Does he?
So.
Yeah, he did great. Him and his wife had a
He
good
was
time.
pumped
Yeah.
tonight.
Logan Williams, what headlights are on the maroon LJ
Vision X.
Vision X.
Yeah. Yep.
that we sell on the website?
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I should say. I think
Yeah, it's
that's
called
the
their
one.
Vortec headlight. It's a 7-inch round.
There's Alan. He's an animal.
We keep those in stock too. Yeah, Alan did great. He is an animal.
Alan's on with
Hi, Alan.
us.
Is he?
Hey,
Yeah.
All right.
I've been watching his lives. I think on the way home he's having quite a bit of fun as well.
Well, on Tuesday he said he was going to pull over just to watch this. So now we're getting to show a lot of him. So I don't know if he's home yet. Maybe he can pipe in. Oh, Deb's got more questions.
Brigida Hopkins.
Yeah.
During Trail Hero, it became evident we need to get new 42s. We have run MTRs in the past and appreciate that they're very lightweight, but they don't perform well on slick rock. What do you recommend for a JKU that spends most of its time rock crawling, 4-dice, Rubicon, etc., but does 2 weeks a year on southern Utah slick rock?
You know, my old Goodyear MTR 42s work
Ironically
really
enough,
good.
Goodyear right
There you go, right
MTR
there.
42s right there on Silver Surfer.
I did have to run them at 6 psi to really make them perform. So I don't know what pressure they've been
Another day.
I did add, I just added a 30-gallon gas tank to the back of this, and I do have my fridge and some other stuff in the back. So I left it on to try, we're trying some different spring rates and stuff. Like I said, you know, this thing's kind of a test bed. But I did not feel like it limited the Jeep's performance. It really,
You're saying you like this spring bike
Yeah.
a lot better than the
Yeah.
first go around, right?
yeah. So, you know, there wasn't a lot that I pointed that thing at that, I think the only thing we had trouble with was the monkeys, where I was just a little too wide. The body on the jail is just
Yeah.
a little too wide.
Keith had
So-
trouble with the monkeys too.
Yeah, I think, and the gladiator got stuck in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Pretty
just,
much all the JKs did.
yeah.
But to answer more of his question about on-road, when
Yeah.
we were taking those customers for a ride when I was following you, we went and jumped low air pressure, jumped right on the main road,
Highway, yep.
and we're doing, with, low air pressure, 50, 60 miles an hour,
Yeah.
hitting speed bumps and then coming back and going from pavement to dirt, back to pavement. The handling, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I guess we should have, Alex, we should have filmed that, like one of my test runs, because I showed Andrew my test track, because he was giving people rides in his Tracer. And it was pretty complete, because not only did we do that road section, we did, like you said, we were going on and off the highway, which normally vehicles would get super sketchy.
Right.
But then we go off-road and do a bunch of this kind of stuff. So it's a pretty cool little course. I can also tell you, Debbie has driven the Aftershock a couple hours, just to drive it.
Oh,
and
it's a breeze.
a breeze, yeah. In fact, she
No
won't
problem.
even get in my other Jeep anymore. So.
I got a question for you
Okay.
guys. Have any of you guys seen the video of someone trying to go up the chute backwards?
I did, yeah.
Rolled?
They had no cage.
No.
That was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So
because
the
they show you going backwards and not
Survival
as easy as it
of
looks.
survival of the fittest.
So the chute was dead dry when we first got there.
On this,
But
day,
halfway
yeah.
through the week, it was a
It
big
got
puddle at the bottom.
sketchy.
You wanted to keep a little more momentum going.
Yeah.
It was sanding and wet.
I felt the tires spinning as I went up, and
Same.
I was thinking it's just gonna like drop down and kick
Yeah.
me out of there. And then like that guy
Yeah.
that was trying to go backwards.
Hey, Tone, Mike's
Oh, the option. This is what I want to see.
Yeah,
Ah.
you did the option. I didn't know you did the option.
Or the bonus line.
Mike Stewart has a question.
Okay.
2-door or 4-door? What are your thoughts? Something. Oh, a guy hit me and totaled his 2-door, so he has to start over again. He's always had a 2-door, but thinking about the pros of a 4-door and the cons, he's in Arkansas. What are your feelings about 4 versus 2-door?
My feelings, even the LJs we're building now, we're stretching those to nearly a 4-door wheelbase. The wheelbase is where it's at. A lot of these obstacles you're seeing, the wheelbase really makes a difference. And I know whether you're wheeling like this or you're going overlanding, the few overland trips I've taken, I've packed the inside, and I was just by myself. I was able to bring everything I wanted, keep it out of the elements. I would not buy a 2-door myself, so yeah.
No. Plus, all us guys like me that have 2-doors, we had to spend triple the money to get that wheelbase
Yes.
that you get just by buying a 4-door JKU or JLU.
So, yeah, good stuff. All right, we're on to the next trail now,
This is the Fallen.
and we can always go back and watch again
Yes.
if everybody wants to see more.
This is the fall, and
So this
so
is a harder trail. I don't remember what this one's rated, but it is harder
I think it's a
than
9.
I think it's a 9.
Yeah.
This is the one that I was in bow tie last year, and since I was a rental Jeep, I felt like I should skip most of the obstacles.
Yeah.
So I was pumped to get out there this year.
So is this toward the end?
It start literally from the very beginning of the trail.
Okay, so I can tell you I spent my entire week there wheeling to protect those front fenders, and it got tiring. I was just like, these gotta
Backwards
go.
weren't so lucky.
Yeah. So they were way too close to everything, and
about the
anybody who tries to keep those needs to see the light and get a higher clearance fender.
We had a couple casualties with the rears, right?
Yeah, you really need like every little bit you can get.
Alan commented that he was running 8 psi and he lowered it to 6.5 and it made a big difference.
And he's running a BFG,
Yeah.
39 inch.
Yeah.
You have those new BFGs, the ones with the little.
You'll
Oh,
see
you're
it
trying
when
to
you
get
sit
the
on
AR.
it.
Yeah, the race ones.
So you can see how stable it looks. I mean, the thing just worked.
It was super stable.
The other thing about wheelbase is that there is no one perfect wheelbase. Like you saw me just walk through there, and Jeff's wheelbase was just right where he had to work a little bit to get up the 2 bumps, right? So it just is that way. And then Cameron's just short enough that he was able to get through everything, but he had to hang his hand out the door like a cowboy.
I think he just likes doing
He
that.
does.
Just does that in every obstacle.
Yeah. Here's
And,
Andrew,
I know that guy.
Mr. Stick Shift himself.
That's right.
Hey, it worked great. I don't care what you say.
Do you
Yeah, that
have
doesn't
do you have
look
a
like
hand
doing
throttle,
low
Andrew?
there.
Do you have a hand throttle?
No hand throttle.
No.
That
Just
doesn't
curious.
look like low. That looks
Just
like
curious.
We
3.8.
drive like men.
Real men don't use hand throttles.
Damn right.
Is that what you're saying?
Juggle the feet.
I don't know. Tony liked his hand throttle.
Whoa. Oh, easy, man.
Hey, family show there, lady.
Not intended how it sounded.
I tried to drive the growler with the hand throttle was, and it threw me off so bad I couldn't do it.
Really?
It like totally confused me. Like I couldn't comprehend that the engine was running faster, and I didn't
Trying
have
to
do
retrain
something.
your brain.
And I stopped doing it. Like, I can't do
Same here. I
that.
put it on my TJ when it was the 6-speed for like 2 months. I'm like,
Logan Williams would like to know if you guys ran into any hiccups or issues along the way.
I did. And that's what we should
Would you like to share?
Yeah.
Share
So,
time?
I'll be honest. I lost rear brake lines, my rear brake line right at the frame before it dropped down the upper control arm, I think on the first trail. And so I have one of our ball valves in the cab, and fortunately it was the rear brake lines that I lost. I was able to shut that valve. I restored brake pressure, and I wheeled the next 3 days
Yep.
without rear brakes.
No problem.
And yeah, it worked out great. So I was bummed that it happened. It made some of the obstacles pretty nerve-wracking because it's without rear brakes to control coming back down with a manual is not really possible. So everything I did was either do or die, especially in the rain.
Fortunately, you did and didn't die.
Yes,
Correct.
I'm here. I'm alive.
Yeah, so that ball valve we usually use as a parking brake, right? You just step on the pedal, you turn the valve on, and it holds the pressure. But in this case, you did the opposite. You
Yeah.
just turned the valve before there was any
Yeah.
pressure, and that restored everything. So,
And Andrew,
Yeah.
Becca McCullough Moyer has a question for you. Tips on how to do this type of wheeling with a manual transmission.
Gearing is everything. So, being that I have an LJ, I have that extra wheelbase. When I was ordering my Atlas, I actually ordered the 4-speed Atlas. And so, with a 6-speed manual and a 4-speed Atlas, there are endless options for gear ratios. And over the last several months of driving it out in the Hammers, Cougar Buttes, Big Bear, and then here in Sand Hollow, first and second gear with just the main case that I opted for the 3.8. It had a great crawl ratio when I needed to just kind of slow things down, and second gear allowed me to kind of bump through obstacles and just keep that momentum to follow the kind of the pace that the guys with the automatics have. So very, very rarely did I ever use the planetary, which would lower it into a 10-to-1, but I was not using first or second in that low gear reduction. I'd use about third gear, and it was kind of a happy place between first and second in the 3.8 reduction. So I know that's a lot of information, but gearing is everything. I hardly ever touched the clutch, and I mean I don't think I ever did on and off.
That's I think the biggest mistake most people make. I drive a manual. Been driving a manual Jeep for 25 years. I think the biggest mistake most people make driving a manual is they sit and they leave their foot on the clutch, and every time something happens, they push the clutch in, and they push the clutch in, and they push the clutch. You can't drive it like that. You drive it like that, you make yourself very jerky. You don't hold your line. You don't stay where you're going. but you really have to have a low range like we both have. I have a 4.3 to 1 Atlas in my Jeep, and my first gear low range is a crawl. It's a crawl. So I'm able to hold my line. I don't have to worry about the engine stalling out. You don't press the clutch in because you're going to jerk your Jeep and you're knocking off your line where you're trying to go. So if you're in the habit of pushing your clutch in to save your life, you're actually making your life worse. And it's a really hard habit to break, but once you realize it, you're going, oh my God, why didn't I do this from the beginning?
Yeah.
Someone on YouTube had a question related. They just said hand throttle, and it's a common thing.
Okay. So a hand throttle gives you the ability to put your foot on the brake and the clutch, and you control the throttle with this little lever.
That's on the steering wheel, right?
No, it's on the gear shift.
Oh.
So sometimes it's electronic, most of the time it's just a cable actuated. And it just gives you the ability to give it a little gas, just like you would if you were to put your foot on the accelerator to let the clutch out. You know, it's not to like let it rip, but it's
Pop.
just that little bit, so when you're in low range, you can crawl. It's really good if you're on a side hill or something like that, but the main thing is that it sets your throttle to a certain RPM, and then you can drag the brake or do whatever you need to do.
Modulate from there.
They're inexpensive. It's a quick and easy upgrade if you want to try one. And I was going to mention what Keith was talking about. When you push in the clutch, what happens is the drive line relaxes, and that's when you slip off the line. And if you've driven a manual and you get into a spot, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, push in that clutch and you'll see the whole vehicle just shifts over because you've taken the load out of the drive line. The drive line has some built-in anti-squat, and it's looking to keep the Jeep suspended.
It's like the complete opposite of when you hear us talk about double footing.
Yeah.
It's taking all that away. and then
Away. Yeah. Yeah.
So with an automatic, yeah.
Yeah. So. More questions?
Question from Kevin Kerwin. Does the EXS extend the wheelbase at all?
It does. That is 119. We just measured it.
From what
He's
you measure
our
117.
two-door stretch guy.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And like I said, that thing just exceeded my expectations every time I turn around. I thought for sure I was going to struggle on a couple spots, but it really worked good.
We have a sales question.
Okay.
Randy Ains, last night, Tuesday, Tony talked about the radiator protector hoop on the front bumper. Can that hoop be purchased separately so he doesn't have to replace his bumper?
It requires welding. It's not a bolt-on thing.
Right.
So, and it is more
Do we
than
sell
just
it
the hoop.
separately, though? I
There's
don't know.
also connector tubes. So you'd have to call in and talk to one of the guys, and we'd have to get you over to an authorized installer to make sure it doesn't get all booger welded on there. And
Most of the time, it's worthwhile just to sell your existing bumper and get one with the hoop that
Yeah.
we welded. We know it's
That's what you usually recommend?
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And Tom, that his Jeep's here, that's what he already called me and said, yeah, I want to get rid of my bumper and get one with a hoop. So, yeah. In fact, I talked to Darren today about putting one on there. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Why do you want to do that?
Because I don't want to roll. All right, so this is a super flexy spot.
This is so sketchy for me.
It is sketchy. And
I love doing that.
and you're gonna see it looks like I'm driving on the side of the front wheel. You know, it's like pretty. Jamie,
It's in here.
this is not Jamie's favorite
Wait,
spot.
it's in there?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It's done.
So Val added some commentary on, did we have any issues while we were out there? She said, Andrew lost rear brakes, which made it interesting on some of the obstacles. Jamie sliced a tire while getting lost on a night run.
Oh, that's right.
I
Because-
ran out of gas on that
Because
same
he
night,
found
man.
the only stick on the, on the
You're
mountain.
out of
Oh,
gas.
no, it was not a stick. This is
And
where
when-
my fender got bashed.
It went into the sidewall, and it rained on GenRight Jeep night, so we had to move to
And I was
RV
like,
Intense.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, out. I think
Oh, Jeff,
Jeff
that's
got in there,
extremely
too.
close as well, buddy.
it was a little too close for comfort. Well, last year I took that high line with bow tie, and I may require a couple of winches.
A little scrapey.
Look at even Cameron can do it.
Cameron got really sketchy on it too, though.
Karen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Wow.
Sketchy.
Shorter.
You know, that's what he calls his Jeep. It's named Sketchy.
Well, Rhett, his son.
No, I think Rhett named it Sketchy.
Yeah, his son Rhett kept on asking if we were on like a lesser trail. He's like, when are we gonna do some sketchy stuff?
Or he'll go, Dad, that was really
Yeah.
He's
sketchy.
terrified, you can tell.
Yeah.
By the way he sticks his arm out.
Yeah.
So that must have been from the day before. Because
Yeah,
I was
and I
following
think-
Cameron prior to this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tony, John Chase wants to know when you're putting GenRight fenders on the JL.
Very soon.
Everybody's been asking that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I'm over it. I got
Especially-
back, Alfie's like, when are you gonna put fenders
Especially
on
when you, since you scarfed them up
there?
at Trail
I was really
Hero.
trying to leave it so that the average JL guy could look at it and identify with it. That was the goal behind it. But what I wanted to point out here is that you'll notice how the rear tire really follows the front tire very well. We've talked about this on many occasions about our suspension and our geometry, and this is a great example of that. So it's pretty cool how it keeps you up on the obstacle. I wish we had
The rear not
somebody.
steering
I
the
wish
way.
we had somebody else's suspension that we could show how bad it works in an obstacle like this.
You got it right this one, Jim.
Oh, this is Jamie's second go round.
I think I
Wait,
got it
we
right
went through
this
that
time.
twice?
Yeah, remember the first
Yeah.
day we stopped and like took off because a bunch of people were stuck?
They were stuck. Yeah, we bailed out of there.
Well, I mean, the thing was,
I was gonna say, Jamie, you could stand to get a little higher up on there. There you go.
I could.
I mean, you're driving a Tracer, dude. You got some stretch on that baby. Already turning down. There you go.
No shafts on that obstacle.
We need to
Yeah.
use some photos.
Was
She
she?
was there taking photos, or that was one of the days she stayed back?
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To wash the truck that had gotten buried on the beach.
Oh yeah.
We forgot about that
I
issue.
think it was that day. I don't know what you're talking about.
I took a picture of that, by the way, so we
I got
never
pictures of
forget.
video.
Jamie had himself a night.
Never
Yeah.
forget.
That
Yeah.
was after his flat tire. He was going for broke on that night.
He's going to get jacked.
So this is a great obstacle. The year before,
It was way more dug out.
everybody struggled on this, and again, you're gonna watch how easily this thing goes up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going. Don't worry.
Just find the right line.
I mean, I don't want to make it look too easy. No. No.
Probably.
No, he crawls it.
The first day you hit it perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
What about Jeff? Oh, he's going wide.
Coming high.
Oh, nice. V8
Nice,
power.
nice little throttle there.
What about Cameron?
Let's see how Cameron knows the four squirrels.
Oh, he's got both arms in.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
Look at that,
The
look at
squirrels did
that.
a great job.
Tony, Anthony Paquette, you mentioned that Aftershock has a 30-gallon tank. Is that the same tank available on the GenRight JKU frame?
No, it's actually a different tank. The JKU Elite tank is a 36-gallon, even better. But the one that we now have in this is not only an aluminum tank, but an aluminum skid. So it is the new, and super advanced, ultra platinum, fancy one on the Aftershock. EXS only. Yeah. There's Peter.
Josh Nasser wants to know if we have any footage of him going up that, pulling the back tire 4 feet in the air.
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't think we do. I think we're all.
So, by the way, this is the first time each of us has seen this video. It literally got loaded from the camera and onto this stick, so none of us have
Nobody
actually
has seen
seen
it
any
yet.
of this footage. And I didn't walk back to see any of these guys going up.
Oh,
So,
there's another little obstacle right ahead of it.
yeah.
Yep. That's next.
Oh yeah. Did we get some? Yeah, I did pretty good.
Tony, top fan Mike Stewart asks, JL or JK, your likes and don't likes.
Oh man, I knew this was coming.
A whole nother TED talk.
Yeah.
Join us next Tuesday.
But in a nutshell.
So, if you're one of those guys that's on the fence, I'd probably spend less money on acquiring the JK and put all the money into good parts. If you've already got the JL, you're already down that road, and then you need to go this full tilt way. The factory frames aren't great, so obviously I'm running the good frame on here. And once you do that, then you're getting our full EXS suspension, which is the newest rendition of the Elite. Not that there's anything wrong with the Elite, as you are watching here, but the aftershock is light. In fact, that's something I'm gonna have Darren do tomorrow. We're gonna weigh it and find out. Somebody else had asked me that.
Cord Killinger mentioned Gaslight Challenge only when Jeff is your Uber driver.
Is that why you didn't tip?
For the record, I did not run out of gas in either Jeep I bought.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah,
It is unheard
this is like the first time
That's why I'm
that's
pointing
happened.
it out.
First time ever
When you rent a Prius half the week.
that you haven't run out of gas.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, you did good.
You did good.
And
Also,
someone asked stretch TJ on 40s with 513 gear stock transfer case. How much would a 4-speed Atlas run me? Definitely my next upgrade.
what is
Closer
it?
to 4.
As I say,
They're
like
closer to 4.
$3,800, yeah. And then by the time you do the drive shafts and a couple other things,
So
so.
maybe you want to repeat the question.
The question was, what does it cost to upgrade to an Atlas for somebody who's got a standard transfer case, which is a 2.72. He's also got 513s and he's on 40s, so that's also not as low as I would have always recommended to go to 538 when you're on 40s. So he's already on the other side of that with the 272 and the 513. So most people, again, I don't know whether he's stick or automatic, but if you have a stick, you want to be at 100 to 1. That's your goal, or you're really going to struggle.
You said 5-speed normal.
But 5 speed,
Or
okay.
manual, sorry.
Manual, yeah. So then he'll want to get that lower ratio transfer case, probably even a 4.3, to get him into the right range. So.
Yeah, especially with the 513s.
So this is the last obstacle. Well,
No, there's one.
I guess there's one after this, but this is the big one,
That's the
the big
one.
obstacle.
And that was the guinea pig.
And if you blow it here, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Is this me blowing it?
Yeah.
I blew it once.
I think we showed that it's not easy, I think is what we were trying to do. So that passenger side tire has got to crawl, but if you stuff it too far into the rock, then it scoots the rear end over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one. Come on, Jeff.
There was a ton of sand on that smooth part of the rock.
I
so-
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
If you
everybody
see
went
the-
This
along,
is
you guys
actually where
could-
Tony flopped the
The
previous
previous
year,
year,
setting it up.
right in that spot.
It does
yeah.
not feel good backing
No,
up to line this
no,
up.
and you're looking down at
Yeah.
that thing and it's just disappearing.
Yeah.
There you
No,
go. No?
No, now, did it scoot?
I think it's good.
Now the rear doesn't want to crawl. From the driver's seat, it looks like you're driving the front tire on the sidewall. Oh, it's slipping down.
Yeah. This point, I
Oh,
do
that
that.
rear didn't climb.
You
Yeah.
can't see where you're going at all.
And then we tried to back him up,
You're guessing the whole time, exactly.
and then he got a little bit too close to the rock. Okay, we reset him.
This is what I should have done the first time.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're even driving anywhere on that face.
So now that rear tire went up beautifully.
Man, that's sketchy.
And right now, everybody else in the group is deciding whether they're going to drive around this or
Yeah.
drive it.
But this is one of the ones last year I skipped. I'm like, no way I'm not doing it this year.
And you cleaned it. This was one of Val's excellent spotting jobs.
Getting off the obstacle.
Getting off of this is a little tricky. A little bit tricky. Because if you don't get off properly, it'll bash the rear corner of your Jeep in. Even getting off properly is close.
Is this
Yeah.
still fallen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
It's a-
is at the
it's
top
a hell
of
of
the
a
big
Is that the obstacle that you flopped on
Yeah,
last year?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, he didn't flop on the obstacle.
No, at the bottom.
On the
Yeah.
setup.
Before he got on.
Where he was nice enough to ask you
Been
to
there,
get
done
out.
And let's also include that I cleaned it right after that.
That's right. Yes.
I know the guy.
There you
That's
go.
just-
Here's Andrew's tracer in action. Mr.
Remember
Pedro
which the
himself.
transfer case that at? You remember?
This looked pretty low.
Yeah, no, this one, I had the planetarian, so that's double low, but I was in third gear and just let the clutch out and trusted my equipment.
A lot of spotters trust on this one too.
Yeah.
Val did a great job.
Val was pivotal in our success.
See, that's perfect because I like being a little higher on that passenger side. You definitely, if you fall in right there, you're taking your Jeep apart to
Yeah.
get it out of the crack.
Luckily, we've brought a lot of Jeep through here. We've had, once they've got here, we have not had them slip off the rock.
Yeah, we've been
I mean, look at the tires. So yeah, 7 pounds. They're just,
working perfect.
yeah.
Look at that face of determination.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Jeez. And right there, I saw the front end wanted to slip off a little bit. It was just
Oh,
talkative.
close
Wow.
up on that mug. Look at that.
That's called paying
Hey,
attention.
the Jeep's better looking. Let's
That's
focus on that.
I think that's
He's white knuckling.
that's what you call paying attention the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is
that's
quite the
beautifully
drop,
done.
man.
Yeah, it is quite the drop.
Were you expecting it to drop that far?
Well, I knew there was a rock there, but I knew the front end was turning off of it. I didn't know what to expect.
This is just Jamie. We can fast forward to this part.
You nailed it.
Just Jamie.
Jamie did good.
Did I nail it?
Yeah,
You did. You one-shotted it.
walked it.
Yeah. Peter's taking notes. He's like, do
Yeah,
I
he
still
is.
want to do this?
Yeah.
He
He
walked
was
it
really
too.
on the fence.
Yeah.
I knew I was.
Even Kelly was back there like, I don't know.
I was a little.
thought
Well,
Kelly
when we
did it
first
last
pulled
year.
up to it, I said I wasn't
That's
gonna
all.
do it.
Me too.
And then everybody walked it cleanly.
And then somebody else went before me, and I'm like, okay, now I have to do it.
Well, I knew once I did it, you weren't not going to do it. You weren't going to want to take that heat for a week or two.
That's kind of how it goes.
As you can tell, there's a little camaraderie around here.
It's like when Cameron walked up 3 monkeys and you're sitting in the background going, crap. I
Oh,
gotta
that
go
was
do
my
it.
favorite video of the trip. Is that on here?
No.
There's a good shot of the crack.
Yeah,
How
that's a
deep
ways
it is.
down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
God,
if you drop something in there, you're not getting it. Much less a Jeep.
Yeah.
Drop your Jeep in there.
Oh, and there's that drop off. Yeah, that's.
Oh, you can really see it now, definitely.
Now this part.
Normally I just goose it.
Yeah, last year I spotted everyone up it, and that was my favorite part, telling them to go right and then stop and go, everything you got. Jamie's like, okay, I'm out.
Oh, wow. I didn't see how that just.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Just ends?
Yeah. It's like done.
Tony, our viewer, Rod Andrew, was at Trail Hero. He said, we were at the vendor show Friday night when the GenRight guys took off late in the afternoon for a run. A full throttle crowd for sure. We now have a new saying with our buddies. When they need more throttle, GenRight it.
Yeah.
Who we did rip out there pretty good. We
We
took
did.
advantage of the rain clearing up.
Yes, yes. And I think by then I was driving Terremoto late in the week, and it was nice to have a little throttle under my foot.
Extra horsies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony fires it up the first time after telling me he's going to take it easy on Terremoto the first weeks leading to Trail Hero. We're out in the dunes for 3 minutes. I can hardly tell where the heck he went. He's going full KOH mode.
Yeah, and then we did our early morning Saturday run in the dark, zipping up the dunes.
That was
pretty
fun.
Yeah.
Some of us made it there on time.
Hey, I still got there.
So
Yeah,
still got
Alex
us.
Oh, yeah,
gets
you were
credit
late
for getting
too.
him there, but he gets credit for getting him there.
100% my fault, because I said there's no way they're leaving at 7 o'clock. There's no way. Don't even bother to show up at 7 o'clock. There's no way they'll be ready. For the one time.
And not only were we ready, we were gone.
I feel like those early runs where everybody's excited about it. We usually leave pretty on time.
Pulled up with,
So this is my other sign of a good obstacle. When there's a lot of people watching, you better pay attention because they're not standing there in the middle of nowhere.
For no
We had a
reason.
whole group of buggy drivers up
They're
there
not there for
watching
no
us.
They're
reason.
not there for no
Yep.
reason.
Thank God you
Here's
told me
pizza.
to get out of the Jeep on this obstacle.
God, the Jeep just looks so good.
I think by this day he really got the hang of the
Yeah,
new torque
you
converter,
can
and
see his progression.
he was driving a lot better.
Hey, Tone, we have a tire question.
Sure.
Hang on, let me see. Hang on. I gotta go up.
He's also driving on DOTs, all that.
I think I was the only sticky set out there in Cameron.
Yeah.
The short wheelbases.
Yeah.
We needed it.
Yeah, it was the extra.
Okay, here we go. Mike and
I
Crystal
know, man,
Zoo.
he's low, but his Jeep weighs nothing.
Yeah.
Question about tires. Currently, I have Ridge grapplers and really like them off-road, but the new Baja Boss AT is really intriguing me. Now, a good aggressive all-season hybrid tire that will do well on snow-packed highways here in northern Utah. But I also want a good off-road tire. Now that the Baja Boss AT has been out for a while, how have they been performing off-road as well as highway? We wheel a lot in southwest Colorado and South Dakota, where the rocks are smoother than Moab. Driving a 2011 JKUR on 37s powered by a 6.2 liter LS engine.
So we've got that tire on our Dodge 2500, and that's the 3-season tire. It's got that 3-peak rating, and it also has a higher silica compound, so it's really sticky in the wet weather. It's also rated for 50,000 miles. So you know, talk about an all-around tire. It's quiet. It's a lot quieter than the tires we had on that truck prior to that. So I'm going to say, you know, one of the things that I like about Mickey Thompson right now is they're the ones introducing the new tires. They're pumping in this new technology, and they've got like the latest and greatest in what they're offering. So that's part of the reason we all like really being on these tires right now. And I don't think you can go wrong with that tire. So,
Agreed.
yeah,
They're very quiet.
Yeah.
They look pretty aggressive for an AT,
Yeah.
but when I drive your truck, they are
It's quiet.
surprisingly quiet.
Yeah.
They're nice.
yeah,
It's got an aggressive sidewall. I mean, it's everything you would want.
because it has a nice look.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
it's everything you would want in a
So on a
Jeep-oriented
Jeep,
AT.
you know, on a Jeep, it'll look nice, you know, where on the truck, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
would you put a mud tire on that thing? All right, what do we got here?
Must be a good one. Look at everybody with the phones out.
Yeah. Oh, this is my favorite one. This is where we cruise around the rock. I haven't even seen this video yet. So the idea here is you do not get your driver's side tire on the rock, front or rear. And then you drive up this wall.
Was this where you got a little sketchy the first time?
And you turn sharp and pivot.
Oh no.
Yeah, I just give it a little gas and just kind of work it.
Yeah, this obstacle's awesome.
It's awesome. There you go.
Yeah, you walk this really clean.
I think I'm saying it was textbook.
If I had to bet, I would guess that's what you were saying.
Oh man. All right, here's Andrew. He's going to show us how it's done
With a manual.
with a tracer and a manual.
Mm-hmm. So even your extra, I mean, you have 4 inches of wheelbase on me.
And
It's,
it just made it a little bit easier
Yeah.
to get in there. And you'll see that on Andy Orlando, who's 140.
oh geez.
You know,
I don't know if I clicked it on this one though.
so there you can see. Remember when we
That's
talked about
really
approach
long.
angle?
Yeah.
There's where you want approach angle.
And I turned off my rear locker to drag that inside tire.
We talked about that. Remember?
And
And that was perfect. Perfect.
would you consider that textbook?
That
Tony?
was textbook.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Nice. Made it bitty nice.
I think everybody did really good on this.
I was so excited I ran it clean. I forgot about there's a little obstacle at
After
the,
that.
and I
I
got
put
way
that in-
tippy.
I
at
put it
the
in
end. I wasn't paying attention at all.
What's interesting is all three of these Jeeps are all a little different.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, Jeff's bumper you'll see a little better than the black one, how close it gets. See that?
Oh yeah.
So approach angle is absolutely key.
Pretty flexy.
There you go.
How far forward
Good.
stretch? Yeah.
7.
7 inches in the front.
There
Oh,
he is.
there's Jeff.
Saying hi. Well, I thought I
He
could
needed to
it
get the
come-
rear tire up there.
No. So when I was up there, I was like, oh, I'll just come down the other side. I'll figure stuff out. But the first run, I saw the look on Hoover's face, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should reconsider this just a little. And it worked out fine.
It did work out fine. All right, here's
Oh,
James.
this is the one that everyone said that I looked all sketchy, and you kept telling me to keep going.
Yes.
Laura,
Your
I
rear
don't think
inside
you
tire
would.
was climbing a little. Or
I didn't think it looked sketchy.
he got really high on the wall,
Yeah.
and
I
then
was
just
pretty high on the wall.
and then just slid it down,
Yeah.
flipping the throttle.
There you go.
yeah.
That's good.
Mine was a little high. I didn't turn my rear locker off, so that could have been part of the problem. But yeah.
You got close to the top there.
I'm like, you're fine. Keep going. Keep going.
Once the tire hits there,
Yep, pivots right around.
Your wheels on
On the
on the
top.
top.
Hey, Tone, you got time for a question?
Sure.
Randy Daniel, what lift height is ideal for JKU running 37-inch tires with a 3.5-inch lift?
So we got a couple different things in that, right? So if I was going to run a 37, the first thing I would do is switch the fenders over to our style fender because the factory fenders are real thick and fat. So you end up having to go with a higher lift to make it actually work. You want to get rid of those, go with a higher clearance fender, and then you could probably get away with like a 2 or 2.5 inch lift and still run the 37s. Again, it's all about that low center of gravity. Because we were running 35s on the 1 3/4 puck lift, so you just want to keep it down low.
Then he could also take the factory gas tank out, move to our gas tank, gain 3 more inches at
On
the
the
belly.
underbelly, yeah.
And then just do our guard. We have a small skid plate that goes right to the back of the factory front cross member. And then if you ditch that factory gas tank again, that's 3 inches of ground clearance. So you're
Right in
getting
the
away.
middle.
Yeah, you're getting away from having to go higher. You're getting the same benefit by getting rid of the stuff that's hanging up.
Yeah,
on the
keep
belly
in
band.
mind to gain 3 inches, you'd have to go to a 42-inch tall tire to get that same 3 inches that are 37. So,
Right.
yeah.
Peter looks at me.
Here's a happy.
He was happy.
I did an interview with him right after.
Got a big
Pretty
smile
good.
on his face.
Yeah. Well, more questions, Deb?
Yeah, Chuck Williams, with the ball valve in the cab, are you bending hard line or using all flexible lines?
Yeah, we use as little flex line as possible. So that's hard line over to the ball valve. And you can mount that in a variety of different locations. You know, your brake lines actually run right to the left of the driver's side seat. They're right below the floor. So you could put something there. We typically move it over the console or somewhere that's up a little further. So, you know, you add an extra 2 feet of hard line in, not a big deal.
Yeah, mine was super easy because as you come off the master cylinder, it was just a 90 into a AN fitting coming through the firewall, and then it was just a quick jump over to the dash. So mine does have a little bit of braided line in there because it's on a removable part of the dash, but yeah, the rest of it's all hard line.
Yeah, and so if you do run braided line, you want it as short as possible. You would not do that in all braided, or you'll get a bunch of sponge in the pedal. By the way, this is another one of those trickle down things from racing, because we have 2 in, one for the front axle, one for the rear. It's very common racing KOH that, you know, you're churning up rocks and stuff and you rip a brake line. You don't know whether it's front or rear, so you have the ability to try it, get your brakes back, and keep going and get to the next pit. So, yeah, very, very handy. And not to say that you couldn't do that in a Jeep, you know. but it's just not as common. The rear is usually what gets caught up in
I mean, that would have ruined my trip for at least
Oh, yeah.
at least a day.
Yeah.
At least a day.
Yeah.
I wasn't going back to camp, so I
Right.
shut it off and ended up
Kept
just
going.
running it the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome.
I was lucky enough when I built my Jeep, there's a shop that builds brake lines and power steering lines that was right across the street from me. So I knew the guy very well, and he came over, and the first thing he told me was run as much hard line as possible. Said run as little flex line as possible. Because the more flex line you use, what Tony was saying, even though it's steel braided, it still flexes and you still lose braking power. So I learned that 12 years ago when I was building mine from a friend of mine who did it for a living.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, and you don't realize, but your brakes, if you were able to measure the PSI, when you push on the pedal, most Jeeps have power assist. You know, you're talking between 600 and 800 PSI at the caliper. So, you know, you're putting that on a 3/16 hose. I mean, that sucker will flex, like you said, even regardless that it's stainless braided. So there's a lot of pressure on that system. So, is there something else on brakes we were going to talk about related to?
Well, I have to admit that I told Andrew that when this happened and he lost his brakes, I said, well, you gotta remember you got Alcon brakes on this thing, and your front brakes all by themselves are probably better than most people's all the way around brakes.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. Yeah.
There was a little bit of a little sketchiness because you
forgot
have
about
nothing
that.
stopping the back end at all. But I wasn't worried for him. I knew he'd be okay.
I definitely did not tell people I was giving rides that I didn't have rear brakes.
Exactly. There you go. Exactly.
I know what it was. When we build a brake system with all the hard lines, we use the same size flex line at each of the wheels and other junctions, so you can carry one spare and then replace it. So a little bit of forward thinking on that.
Lots of positive reviews on the footage and the
Cool.
commentary, and people are thanking you. And Zach Guptill asked if we have any plans to post a compilation of Trail Hero on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna put together an
But
edit.
like literally, this footage just got
This is like
you know
an
they've
hour
been
worth
downloading
of
it.
me clipping stuff together.
And they're gonna put some stuff together, and we'll definitely get that up on YouTube.
Okay.
And we'll share the heck out of it. So.
And Casey Sargent, off-topic question: does GenRight do shock tuning for side-by-sides?
Oh, no, but there are plenty of people who do.
Tell them to look up shock therapy.
Shock therapy is, Jamie says, is a good one for side-by-sides. If you're brand new to shock tuning, I've got news for you. It is absolutely imperative that you know and talk a lot to the shock tuner. They're outside the vehicle and they watch you come through, but they're asking you how it feels and what it's doing. So you have to be able to verbalize that in order for them to help you. The other thing that I always recommend is that you bring several guys, because they're going to look at your vehicle and go, you better take all these shocks off. You know, we want to pull them apart or whatever. And that's a pretty big job. So typically we bring 4 people and everybody is beat by the end of the day. So yeah, just be prepared for a very big workout. The shock tuners only take the shock apart on the bench. That's not the guy out there. This isn't a full service garage where he's wrenching on your vehicle. That doesn't exist. So don't be
You're paying the whole
surprised.
time.
Yeah. So, and you know, if you have any like dirt bike background, you'll know that when you change the rear, it affects the front, or if you change the front, it affects the rear. So there's a lot of subtle things, and I think if you watched on Tuesday, you saw where I was helping a lot of people fix what they had on their Jeeps to get them to work right. And fortunately, because we supply our shocks with the right valving and the right spring rates, all I had to do was adjust a couple of things and got their Jeeps back to where they should be. But if you ever get a chance to ride with one of us, you know, I was hitting whoop-de-doos on the side of the road at, I don't know, 60, 70 miles an hour. And these were pretty cool at Trail Hero because in the middle was a jump. So you hit that thing and landed back in the whoop-de-doos. So, but I know every person that rode with me was like, holy crap, I didn't even know a Jeep could do this, you know. I think they felt like they were riding their trophy truck, you know. So, yeah, there is a lot to it, and, you know, getting all of that set right so that it'll go good off-road and on-road, and then slow and fast. So it's all that balance, and that's what we work on big time. That's super important to me anyway. So,
Well, even just the different types of coilovers, going from something that, no reservoir to reservoir to something that has the ability to adjust the compression dampening from the outside, then all the way up to an internal bypass.
Yep.
I mean, you've always
yep.
taught me and the rest of us that a coilover is speed sensitive, and it isn't until you get all the way up to the internal bypass where you get that position sensitivity.
Yes.
And that really changes how you can drive the vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's a lot when it comes to tuning a shock. So
it's backwards on a Jeep. So on a independent sand car, you have very little unsprung weight. On a Jeep you got a ton. In fact, the unsprung weight is almost the same as sprung weight. So that's why we run these IVPs, because it lets the shock go through the cycle until the very last bit to slow it down. And we're coupling that with an air bump. So not only do we have an IVP, but we're coupling that with an air bump to like double the ability to slow it down.
Yep.
So.
Well, we're caught up on questions. Jamie, I think we don't have any more questions on
that side?
YouTube.
No.
Doing pretty good.
Okay, so if you want to recap anything, last comments, otherwise I think we're good to go. You might want to remind everybody about Jeep, nationwide
Jeep
GenRight Jeep
is
night
this
tomorrow
Friday.
night.
Yep. So
Tomorrow.
if you're not sure, you can email Jeff. He'll give you the details on where the nearest one is toward you. The other thing I want to remind everybody is we are going to go to 1 day a week. We're going to go to Wednesdays, and we're going to change the hour 1 hour back. It'll be at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. So
For this, not
for
Jeep.
Tech Talk. We're going to take this opportunity to actually produce an additional video that is not live that we will be posting each week. So we'll still be here working hard, but we're going to step back the live Tech Talks 1 day.
So that we can post more recorded
yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, because we got a lot of content out of this, and we're ready to start getting that mixed up. We're also coming into our serious wheeling season, back out at the Hammers, back out in Arizona. So we got a lot of stuff going on, and I mean, literally the month of November, I don't have a free weekend, so we're going to be real busy. So hopefully everybody catches that message that we're going to Wednesdays at 5 p.m.
And does that start next Wednesday?
Starts next Wednesday.
Okay, so don't look for us on Tuesday.
Well, if you got your notifications on, you'll know. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. As always, we appreciate you guys watching and listening. Hopefully, you found this very helpful, and we will see you next Wednesday.